Angular, how we can configure and install Angular. So for Angular, we need to set up and install this, right? So up to this, after installing, you have to check the version. So which version of Angular it is. We are going to learn the default Angular latest version here, that is 11, Angular 11. So make sure that you installed it and you configured it. So for that, how to run the commands I given you previously. Now check the version also. You have to type ng-version to check which version, because uh, in older versions some options are deprecated. In the new versions some newly added. So we are going to deal with Angular 11, right? We are going to deal with this Angular 11. So once you have this installed successfully, how to create a project. So how we can configure the project, and we will see step by step how we can create and work with the project. So we will learn how to create a simple Angular application, and how we can build and work with application. Already I told you that when you are separately learning about Angular, you have so much to discuss and know about it. Here we are just learning the basic application in Angular, because our main concentration will be React. So working with React, just introduction I'm giving. So how to create a new application. So how we can configure the application. Let's see. So first point, once you installed successfully this Angular in your computer, how to create a project. So for that, we have to run the command. So that is where you want to create the project. First, let's create a folder. Go to your computer location, some C drive. In this location, already we have our full stack folder. Already we have our full stack folder. This is where all our projects, everything are present. Now in this full stack folder, I will create a new folder. So or you can do it from Visual Studio like this. Open your Visual Studio, open your project location. Full stack is our project location. In this location, so what you need to do is, so in this location, you create a new folder, make a new folder, and we will make it as Angular projects. Angular projects is the folder. And in this Angular projects, we need to create an Angular application. We need to create an Angular application. So how to create an Angular application? Open this folder in a terminal. That means you can simply right click and select the option open in integrated terminal. That folder location will open in terminal. Here we need to create an Angular project. So we have to just run the command ng new. So ng new is used to create a new project. And ng new, so we have to create a application and application name. We need to define an application name. So just we have to configure an application name. That means project name. Suppose shopping is our project name. So ng new and the project name. So what is your Angular project name? You have to define the project name, shopping. And when I hit enter, so it is going to ask you few options here. It will ask few questions like, do you want to enforce stricter type checking and stricter bundle budgets in the workspace, in the workspace? Actually, this will help for identifying the problems, compiling, processing, so and identifying the issues. It will help you to do that. So you can make it available and use it for your project. It's not mandatory, but it is good so that it can easily catch the problems and identify the problems. So you can select why. You can select why. After that, next step and hit enter. Next step, it is asking do you want to add Angular routing? Angular routing is very important for configuring navigation in our application. So better add this routing also. Later, if you want, you can add later also. But while creating application, so we will add routing. Okay, yes. Routing is also added. Routing is used for creating navigation in single page application. In single page application, navigation is configured with routing. So you enable that. Yes. It is asking which CSS you want to use. You can see it is asking less SAS, SCSS. You can use anything. We will use directly CSS. Okay, select CSS. Okay, enter. You can use up and down arrows to select any other. I will select CSS and enter. Which style sheet format you want to use. Once you define all these, now a project is created for you. It is creating an Angular project for you. So these are all the questions that it will ask for creating and configuring the application. For creating and configuring the application, these are the questions it will ask. Right. So what you have to do here? So create an Angular application. First you have to install. After you finish installing, you check the version. After checking the version, so go to your full stack project. So your full stack project in VS Code, Visual Studio Code, and create a new folder. So Angular projects. Okay. After that, open folder in integrated terminal. In folder location in terminal, and type the following command to create application, to create a new Angular project. What is the command we need to configure? The command we need to configure is, so we need to define the command we need to define here, ng new and project name, any project name you can give. So I given here as ng new and shopping, that is the project name. Now it will ask you few questions when you configure this. It will prompt you some questions. Yeah, when you configure this, it will prompt you for few questions. We need to handle them. Yeah, Let's check what are the questions it is asking. First question you can observe here. It asking like, do you want to enforce stricter? So the question here is stricter. So here, yes, you say simply why. Yes. Enforce stricter, yes. And in the next line, it will ask, so it will ask another question. So add routing. So here also you choose yes. After that, it will ask here. So style sheet format. And here you select style sheet format, you select CSS. That's it. Now this will create a project for you. You can see that it is installing all the library that is required. So whatever library you need for your project, it is downloading and installing all the library. It will take some time. It will, because it has to download all the library required for Angular. It will take some time for downloading all the library. It will take some time, right? Because first time when you are adding project, some libraries are first time added. Once already a project is generated, now in the workspace you are adding more projects. Then next time onwards it will be fast. Why? Because already some libraries are downloaded. Yes, Vivek. Any doubt?
हेलो
Yes.
सर आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ आ रही है, बोलो।
सर मैं कह रहा था कि ये npm ये जो कमांड है ये मतलब इनका कोई फॉर्म है, जैसे ये स्टैंडर्ड है कुछ, जैसे इसका कुछ नाम जैसे npm से कुछ नोट होता हो?
npm पैकेज मैनेजर है ना?
ओके। और ng सर?
npm पैकेज मैनेजर है, ng एंगुलर का प्रीफिक्स है।
ओके
हाँ?
ठीक है सर। सर एक मेरा क्वेश्चन था, एक्चुअली मैंने फोन भी किया था आपके ऑफिस में, तो ये हमारा एक्सप्रेस राउटिंग के बाद से जो है कोई नोट्स नहीं दिख रहा है मुझे क्लासरूम नोट्स पे, तो वो मैं प्रैक्टिस नहीं कर पाया।
सब एक ही जगह अपलोड किया था ना?
लेकिन सर मैंने देख लिया वहां दिख नहीं रहा है, एक्सप्रेस राउटिंग के बाद से कोई नोट्स नहीं है, फिर सीधे एंगुलर का।
एक्सप्रेस के बाद से कुछ डिस्कस किया नहीं ना प्रैक्टिकली?
प्रोग्राम बने थे, वो प्रोग्राम ही अगर
प्रोग्राम सब फाइनली बना रहे हैं, अभी बना रहे हैं। हाँ?
अच्छा
वो कैसे
app.js वाला मैंने वो सुना था, app.js का जो बना हुआ था वो मुझे नहीं दिखा कहीं पे, तो इसलिए मैंने
Node.js का ऑलरेडी पूरा अपलोड किया हुआ है ना?
हाँ Node.js का है, उसके बाद
हाँ
नहीं है प्रोग्राम।
हाँ, उसी के बाद का प्रोग्राम अभी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं हम।
अच्छा
और डिस्कस होने के बाद प्रैक्टिकली
हाँ ये
तब अपलोड करेंगे उसको।
एंगुलर से सर आपने कल एक अपलोड डाला था, एंगुलर के बाद से है वो, उसके पहले का 2 टॉपिक छूट रखा है, उसमें प्रोग्राम वगैरह नहीं दिख रहा है मुझे।
अरे मैं अभी वही तो बोल रहा हूँ ना, वो जो भी
अच्छा,
टॉपिक्स मैंने बताया था
जी जी,
वो जस्ट आपको दिखाने के लिए कि फाइनली व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू अचीव,
ओके ओके
that
ओके,
we are going to do now,
ठीक है
right?
सर, फाइन,
Right.
थैंक यू सर।
So we learned how to create API, and after learning how to create API, how to configure the API, now I showed you how API is consumed in jQuery. I just showed you the process how API is consumed in jQuery. But in real world, we use jQuery, we use Angular, and we use React. So that is the concept we are trying from the first basic point onwards now. That means once we know how to create an Angular project, now we are going to create an API, we are going to create the service, and that we are going to consume in Angular. So that is the process we are going to look now. So our Angular project is ready. Our Angular project is ready. Now you see it successfully installed. It successfully installed everything. Once the project is ready, you can see that in our Explorer, you can see in this Angular projects, shopping is our project. So this shopping project contains so many files and folders. You can see it comprises of a lot of files and folders. So these are all required. These are all required for working with the Angular application. These are all required for working with Angular application. Now, people who learn Angular, so individually, they have to know about all these detailing. But for us, few are enough. So because here we are going with the introduction only, we need to understand a few options that we created. Once the project is created, the file system, I will give you a screenshot, right? I will copy this. This is the project related important things you need to know. Actually, this is the entire file system. That is the entire file system. Okay. I will copy and I will keep it here. That means these are copied into your project location. Now in this, what we need to do, we need to understand, uh, not all I am giving, few options I am telling you. Actually, let me create a simple table. Add a simple table. Yeah. Here, in the project, you can see there is an E2E folder. There is an E2E folder. Actually, this E2E folder, actually it is end to end. End to end. E2 is actually end to end. End to end means this folder, it contains the configuration actually. It contains the configuration. Yeah, this end to end. So this end to end contains, it contains configuration required required from configuration required from development to production. Whatever configuration is required from development to production. That means actually already in several occasions we discussed it contains, right? It contains configuration required from development to production. Already we discussed several times, if you remembered, several times we discussed that software development happens in 3 locations. We generally have a sandbox server. We generally have a development server. We will have a quality server. We will have a production server. So from development to production, whatever the configurations are required for building application, deploying application, everything is present. Everything is present inside this E2E folder. And node modules, no need to explain. Already you know about node modules. Node modules is nothing but it comprises of all libraries required for project. Whatever libraries you need for project, all the libraries are present inside this node modules. And SRC, it comprises of project resources. Project resources means all the files that are required for project. Related resources are present in this location. Initially, these 3 are enough for us. You go here, you can see now. So this is E2E, end-to-end configuration, and these are node modules, and this is SRC. In SRC, you can see some more options are present. In SRC, some more options are present. And few options are important. I will tell you them. In SRC, some more options are present. So in SRC, what are the components present? Let's see. I will give a screenshot for this also. That is inside SRC. Okay, inside SRC, you will have these files. I will copy that. Inside SRC, we have these files. Okay. Now, in this what we need to do is, we need to understand here is, here we have separate folders now. Let me add a table again here. What is the purpose of them? You need to know. In SRC, you can see there is a folder. So in SRC, there is a folder app. So app folder is important because it comprises of Angular components, services, factories, contracts, and everything. Angular related services, contracts, factories. What are components, services, factories? I will tell you now. We will discuss about them. Angular related, application related, all component services are present here. Assets, we have assets. Assets contains all non-dynamic files. It comprises of static files like images, text documents, etc. All these are present in assets. You have to keep in assets. Okay. Others not required. That's the reason I am not explaining to you. That is, people who learn separate Angular, they will learn that. One more important, I no need to explain you index.html. Everybody knows that. So what is index.html? It is the startup page for project. That means your project starts from this index.html. It is the startup page for project. That means our application starts with this index.html. And one more, style.css. Styles.css. It comprises of global styles used for project. Whatever styles you want to use for project, you can keep the styles here. You can keep the styles here. So once you keep the styles here, they are available to all locations. They are available to all locations. That means from anywhere you can access the styles and use them. So for every component, you can design a separate CSS, but this is global. So you keep anything here, it is available to all of them. It is available to all of them. That is what we need to know. Okay. Now, once it is ready, that means you know the basic folders. So our entire work will be in this app folder. Our entire work will be in that app folder. And inside app folder, some more present. We will discuss about them. Inside the app folder, some more options are present. We will discuss about. Initially, these are the outline folders. Okay. Let's go to the app folder. In the app folder, you need to know about two files. These two files are important files. Let me give you a screenshot for that app folder also. So now inside SRC, we have app folder. This is app folder. I will copy that. And this is app folder. In the app folder, there are some files. In those files, two files are important for us to understand actually. One file is, you can see, app routing. So app routing.module.ts. So it comprises of routing configuration. So it comprises of routing configuration. What is routing, how it works, we will see. Another important, app.module.ts. This is very important. So what is TS? TS is TypeScript. So that means here all the files are not JavaScript. Code, everything is defined in TypeScript, right? Now it comprises of module.ts comprises of you can say registry of services and modules that you want to use in application. That means generally whatever the services and modules that you create, those services and modules you want to use in your application. The services and modules you want to use in your application. So you cannot directly use them. First you have to register them. That means whatever library you want to use for the project, that library must be registered in app.module.ts. Suppose I want to use a class. First you have to register the class, import the class here, and you can use that class. You cannot use anything without registering in app.module.ts. You have to make sure that it is registered in this app.module.ts. We will see that now. So these two files are important. It contains the routing information and it contains the configuration for registry of services that are required. So this is the basic file system you need to understand. After creating the project, our project related resources are present in SRC. And SRC contains app assets, app contains application related components and services. Assets contain static files, and index is the startup page. Style.cs is the global CSS file. And in app, routing is present in route and app module.ts. Now, once the project is ready, first we will test whether it is working or not, So what you have to do is start and test the product. Start the project. So you need to start the project. You need to start and you have to start and run the project. You can simply start and run your Angular application. Start and run your Angular application. How do we do that? What you have to do is, for that first step, open terminal, open terminal. Change to your project location, and run the following command. What's the command you have to run? So we have to run the command ng. So ng serve, ng serve. We have to run the command ng serve. So ng is already, I told you, right? Yesterday we discussed one point. I told you that. So we downloaded Angular CLI. So we downloaded Angular CLI. What is this Angular CLI? Angular CLI is nothing but it is a command line. It is a command line tool that provides commands. It is a command line tool that provides commands for configuring, for creating and managing Angular application. To create and manage Angular application, we need a command line tool. That's what we installed in the yesterday's session. So once you install this tool, it will provide some commands. And in the commands, we have a command called ng-serve. ng-serve is a command which will build your application and it will run the application. It will start the application. So how we can do that? So open your project location. That means open the project location. So you just right click and select open in integrated terminal. This is our shopping project. In this shopping project, so this is the project location. So this is our project location. I will just give you the path here. You have to run the command ng-serve. There are so many commands, different methods. We can also use npm start. You can use npm start, or you can simply use ng-serve. You can use ng-serve -- open. That means ng-serve will start your project on a server, and you have to open manually. After starting the server, you have to open manually. If you put open command, then it will start the server and open automatically. So currently, suppose if I give ng-serve, so and hit enter, that means now it will build the application. Now you can see that it is showing a message. Would you like to collaborate this project with our Angular team? So if you collaborate this project with the Angular team, then you are connected with the Angular community, and it will help you to resolve the issues that you are facing with projects. Currently, we don't need that. But in real time, once you finish, you are working with project, you need lot of community help. That community help is provided by these people. So currently I don't need that. I will say no and hit enter. Now it is going to compile and run your project here. So first it is going to compile. If there are any problems, then it will report the problems. That means it will show, are there any problems inside your project? If there are no problems, so then it will compile successfully and it says that server started. So it is compiling all the library. Currently, we created a project and we don't know anything about this project. We are just starting it. That means by default, it contains some sample information which will come. We can change and we can keep according to our requirement once you know how to edit. Okay. Initially, we are just compiling and processing. It's successful. Compiled successfully. After compiled successfully, observe it is showing a message. Angular live development server is listening on this particular port number. Just like we have created on Express a server and we configured a server and we said that it is listening on that particular port number. It is listening on that location. So you can make a request now. How to make the request? Open the browser. And in the browser, we have to request that particular file. That means here you need to configure http://localhost 4200 and you can see that. So it will get that project and show. This is the home screen. So this is home screen. So this is the shopping app is running. Now tell me from where this screen is coming. Can you tell from where that screen is coming? That means what is the startup page that you are watching currently? This screen is coming from? Yeah, it is coming from index.html, right? That is coming from index.html, right? Good. So let's go there and go to your project explorer. Go to your project explorer and go to that index.html, src in that index.html. In index.html, you can see here body, it is having some app root. And in the body, I will remove that app root. And here I will just keep a heading. So heading, welcome to Angular. And I will save this. Whatever modification you done, you save. And in the output, you can see that will come. That means we are creating a simple Angular application. So we are starting that Angular application. To start the Angular application, you have to run the command ng-serve. Once it is started listening, so what you have to do is, once it started listening, you have to define like this. That means open any browser and request the following. So following in URL. So that you have to request this http://localhost. Usually it's port number 4200. We can run on different port numbers also. For that we need to learn the commands. So ng-serve, we can also write port is equal to some port number. You can define so many. As of now, this is enough. Now once you start this is there. Now what you can do is you can go to index.html. Index.html is present in this location. So it is present in this location. That means in the src folder. Go to index.html in src folder. In src folder, and make changes in index body. That's what we have to do. Later I will show you how the entire Angular application is designed and how it is used now. Actually, this is application ready. It is working fine. So our Angular project is running, but generally we will not, because it is a single page application. How Angular application is built, how Angular application is designed, what is the basic architecture of Angular application. Actually, the basic architecture of Angular application I will tell you simply so that you will understand how to design. So for example, actually we will have some functions. Generally we have some functions and some data. So that means we have some functions and data. Data is nothing but some value. Functions and values. Actually, these functions and values are kept at one place. We will have a collection of functions and values. And this is called as, actually, we call this as a factory. So factory is a collection of functions and values. Factory is a collection of several functions and values. Now, there can be several factories depending on the nature we categorize them. Now, what happens is this factory is injected. This factory is injected into a service. It is injected into a service. So service can contain collection of factories. The factory is injected into a service. That means there can be several services. So the factories are injected into service. There can be several services. Now we want to use this. That means service is a collection of factories. Factory is a collection of functions. Okay. Now this service we want to use in application. Then what we do is generally we create a component. We create a component. And this component gets the functionality from this service. From the service we get the functionality. And we build a component. A component is built from the services. By using the services, we build one component. We build the component by using these services. What services we need, and we build a component. So now this component is injected into the Angular application. That means you will have index.html. It is the startup page. So into that we will inject this component. That means this component is available inside this index.html. That means index.html can contain collection of several components. It contains collection of several components. The components are designed from services. Services will get from functions. So Angular application starts with index.html. Angular application contains collection of components. Angular application contains components, services, factories, so pipes, so many are there. Here, this is how generally we build the application. So you will have functions. Functions are injected into, functions are called factories, and factory is injected into service. Service is injected into component, and component is used in our application. For example, observe, suppose I open any website, suppose Amazon. When you open Amazon, now this Amazon contains a lot of components. So for example, you see, so at the top, this is address component. Hello, select your address. This is location component. This is search component. This is header component. The entire top is header component. And this is menu component, which contains menu items. That means every application is designed with components. So after that, you see there is a carousel component. After that, cards components. Everything is designed with component. That means we build an application with a collection of all these components. We combine the components, configure the components, and we keep all the components together. So building Angular application starts with designing component. That means we have to design the component and we have to use. Technical Angular architecture is different. Here I am just showing you a simple understandable architecture to you. So technical Angular architecture. So usually it looks like this. The basic Angular architecture, how it looks like. Let me give you where it is, right. So the basic Angular architecture comprises of like this. So the Angular architecture, we have the option. Yeah, this is the Angular architecture actually. This is the basic Angular architecture. And how it is going to work, we will see now practically. This I simplified. This is the actual architecture Angular people will learn. This I simplified. That means, so we have the factories and values, functions and values kept in a factory. They are injected into service. Here also same. Module contains values and functions injected into service. Service is injected into component. Component is injected into application and it is used there. So this is the basic approach actually. Now what you have to learn in Angular? In Angular, you have to learn two basic things we are going to learn. So we will learn how to create. So here we will learn how to create a service. So creating a service, service, and creating components. These two things we will discuss. How to create service, how to create components. That means finally what we have to do is, so in Angular, we generally create a service. This service will get data from, so we will have Node.js with Express. We will create API. So API methods like get methods, API post methods like this we will design. So these will communicate with the backend database. Present in MongoDB. That means MongoDB or MySQL. It will MongoDB. From there it will get the backend database. Now from here we connect it and we give it to the API. API interacts with that, gets the data and send to service. This is Angular service. We will send to Angular service client side. This Angular service sends that to Angular component. It will send to Angular component. It will send to the Angular component. And this component is injected into Angular application. This component is injected into Angular application. This is how it happens. That's how it is going to handle the communication. This we are going to achieve now. We are going to achieve. Same, application sends the data that comes to the component. From the component, data will go to service. And the service will send this to the API in the background. API will insert into the database. This approach actually happens. This approach actually happens. This is what we are going to achieve now. This is what we are going to achieve. And client side, you can do in Angular, you can do in React, or you can do in jQuery, JavaScript, anything. So we are going to see how to handle this now. How to create a service, how to create components, and how do we configure them. That we will see in our next session, right? Tomorrow, we will start designing this example. That means end-to-end communication with Angular, how we can manage that, right? Tomorrow, in tomorrow's session, we will discuss about that, okay? Right.